Welcome to Leadership Legacy Radio, where we inspire you to live your dreams, encourage you to take massive action, and be your authentic and genuine self. We focus on 3 pillars. That's empowering youth, equipping leaders, and enriching marriages so that you can go out and dominate your space.
If you're ready to dominate, you're listening to the right show. This is the Leadership Legacy Radio. Now let's go. Let's go.
You don't even have it up top, do you?
Let's go. All right, we are live. I think Mrs. Zuckerberg let us know that we're live. All right. We're on. Let's go. Hey, Eric. Thank you for joining. Let's go. Oh, snap. Let's go.
Oh, wow. We got sound everywhere from all over the place.
Sorry.
My
Feedback.
bad.
Hey, Mom.
Me.
All right, so this is significant. Sharita, the floor is yours.
Wow, Chris, you just gonna start out like that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just putting
Time to
on
transform
blast?
people's marriages right now. Let's go.
Well, not just marriages, but lives overall. So
Life.
tonight, we're going to jump right into it, and we're going to be talking about this is significant. So I was listening to something today, and it really, really encouraged me. And we're just going to kind of talk about that topic a little bit. So this is in relation to whatever area in your life where you may be struggling with, whether it's on your job, whether it's as a mom, whether it's as a spouse, or just an individual, any area of your life. We want to just remind you that it is significant. You have to tell yourself that. One of the encouragements in that message that I was listening to was reminding yourself that every day for 30 days, that what I am doing in my marriage, what I'm doing on this job, it is significant. A lot of times it's easy for us to despise small beginnings, but it is so important for us to remind ourselves that where I am right now is important. It's even vital to my success. It's vital to my goals and my dreams where I am right now. Oftentimes we look at where people are right now, what they have, their successes, but we forget that those small beginnings, where they started, was all a part of that process. It's all a part of that journey. So what you're doing right now, remind yourself that it's significant. As a mom, as a wife, the little things, encouraging your kids, making their lunches, helping them with homework, helping them, in school and in life, it is significant. Sometimes it kind of gets mundane. Is that okay to say? Yeah. Because we do it every day and we take it for granted. Something else that we take for granted is prayer. We feel like, I'm praying the same prayers every day. I'm doing the same things every day. Is it working? Is anything happening? But let me tell you, the moment that you stop, you're going to see the difference that your prayers have been making in your life. Don't despise those small beginnings. Remember, if you can't handle what you're going through right now, if you can't handle where you are right now, it's going to be difficult for you to be able to handle what it is that you're praying for, what it is that you're asking for and seeking. We have to be able to handle these things. We can't run away from it. We can't run away from those things that may challenge us a little bit, because one thing that I'm reminded of is that, guess what? Those are the times, the most important times that we learn and we grow and we get to experience. If I can't handle the little things that I go through now, how can I expect to help somebody with a bigger problem? How can I help myself when I go through a bigger problem? If I'm trying to run away from a small task, a small situation. I know for me, sometimes I will be quick to be like, oh, you know what? This is not for me. I'm not called for this. I'm not called to this. But I've been reminded recently that, you know what? these things I have to be able to grow through and work through. And I'm not going to let it hinder me from going to where I want to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like your biggest blessing is on the other side of breakthrough. Your biggest, challenge is going to set you up for success. And I think one of the things that we tend to get discouraged by is how long it takes. We underestimate how long it will take and undervalue, the growth we will experience. Like you growing every day is phenomenal.
Right.
But it's just like our children. Other people see them and they're like, man, your son has gotten really big. And we're like, really?
Yeah.
Because you see them every day. So that's what we're talking about is don't despise the things that you're going through, because these things are going to allow you to understand the importance of significance. Like, one of the things that, we think about is all of the things that are going on around us, but we forget what's going on right in front of us.
Wow.
The relationships with our kids, the relationships with our spouse, valuing those more than anything else, in pouring into those more than anything else, investing into those relationships more than anything else. One of the things that we've tried to do is just, be very intentional about creating memories with our kids, creating memories with each other. Because what we don't want to do is look back on life and say, I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have spent more. I wish I would have been more. Like, none of these things are going to help you, because right now, the most important thing is the things that are significant right now, the little things that you may undervalue.
And that's so important, because it's the little things that we take for granted. We take for granted, hey, telling our spouse that we love them every single day.
Absolutely.
We take for granted telling our kids that we love them every single day, or going to lunch with them every week. We take for granted getting our spouse flowers, or doing little things, making a note, or telling the people that work with us thank you, or telling anybody thank you when they do something for you, appreciating people, valuing people. Sometimes we take those little things for granted until, guess what? It doesn't happen. Until your spouse stops telling you that they love you. You know what I mean? Then you're thinking like, oh, well, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like that.
Yeah.
Like that made a difference in my day. And so that goes both ways. So I have to let you know, hey, thank you for telling me that you love me every day. That means so much to me. That makes a difference in my day. Even your kids, I'm telling you, listen, having teenagers is a whole separate job, task, calling in itself. Because sometimes you don't get that response and reaction that you may want to get. But guess what? Don't stop doing it. Don't ever stop doing it. Because guess what? Later on in their life, it's going to make a difference. Guess what? That moment that you stop doing it, it's going to make a difference. I can tell you, having teenage boys, listen, that's one of the most difficult jobs I've had in my entire life, first of all. But, for a long time, I get up and I decorate for everybody's birthday. I decorate the night before. So when everybody gets up, they have decorations for their birthday, And as they've gotten older, they felt like, Mom, I don't need that. You don't have to do all of that. If I don't do it, I think somehow I was late. I did it after school or something for one person, and one year, and they just they felt a certain kind of way about it. They didn't pout about it or anything like that, but I knew that they felt a certain kind of way about it. So those little things that you're doing, even if people don't express it, it makes a difference. Now, when you're talking about this is significant, what we're talking about today, that doesn't mean that you go out and seek significance.
Yeah.
You become significant when you decide to make a difference. When you decide to make a difference in someone's life, when you decide to make a difference on your job, in your workplace, when you decide, guess what? This is my assignment. This is my purpose here, to make a difference. At that point, That's when you become significant. Because guess what? The moment you leave, when your time comes for you to move on to that next level, it's going to be noticed. Everything that you do, hopefully it's noticed while you're there. But people are going to know your presence makes a difference when you are seeking to make a difference.
You know, one of the things that I was reminded of while you were saying that is a story, and I think you remember the story. So this grandmother, she was sitting down, and her grandson came up to her, and he was sharing with her like all the things that was important to him. And he had asked, why is it that you and Grandpa were always so happy? And Grandpa had just passed away. And what he was basically trying to identify is like they were always happy. And she shared that Grandpa lived a life of significance. And she basically shared that a lot of people may not know this. A lot of people may not appreciate this. But he made a tremendous difference in my life. And that's why we were always so happy. So every day for 42 years, he would write a poem for her. Every day for 42 years. That's a lot of poems. That's a really creative man. That's like really good stuff. So
it's only so many poems.
It's only so many poems I can write. And only so many ways that you can say roses are red, violets are blue. So what he did though is he was gifted at something, and he used that to honor his wife. He used that to bless her, and that became significant to her without him even trying. And if you think about it, like the things that we do for our spouses, the things that we do for our children, as minuscule as they may be, whether it's preparing lunch for them, preparing dinner, making sure that they always have a warm meal, making sure that the kids always have that wonderful surprise when they wake up in the morning on their birthday, whatever it is, all these little things do matter, and they make a difference in people's lives. So, like Sharita said, when you decide to change from trying to be significant to trying to make a difference in somebody's life, that's when you truly make impact.
That's when you become significant.
Yeah, that's when you become significant.
Like oftentimes people seek significance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Oh, I want to be significant. I want to have this high position where everybody looks up to me. Everybody reports to me. Everybody, maybe even fears me. Everybody wants to...
Don't do it.
Everybody wants to give, me praise.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be my friend because of my position.
Absolutely.
No,
don't do it.
That's not
Just
a good
away.
place to be. Right. Just walk away. Exactly. Because guess what? Those people that are surrounding you, do they really care about you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or are they interested in what you have to give, what you have to offer them? So being significant, recognizing that what you're doing right now in your life, where you are, making sure that you know that it is significant starts with being grateful. Starts with being grateful with where you are. It's so easy to feel like, oh, I can't wait till I get to this point in my life. I can't wait till I have X amount of money. I can't wait till we do this or that or have this or that. When you are constantly focused on the things that you don't have and don't appreciate the things that you have right now, you'll miss a whole season of your life. You'll miss a whole years of your marriage, years of your kids' life, years of enjoying the people that you're working with right now, doing the things that you get to do right now, because every experience that you're going through in that position that you're in right now is going to prepare you for what you want to have in your future, for your goals, for your dreams, even in areas where you're struggling in. Man, this is hard. I am not doing so well at this. Guess what? When you finally make it, you'll be able to help somebody else because you know how it feels. You know that, guess what? This struggle is real. This isn't easy. Like, I don't want everything in my life to come easy. I'm okay with those difficult times. I'm okay with learning and growing and having struggles sometimes, fighting through it every single day, pressing through it. one thing that I wrote down about this topic, about this is significant, is sometimes we have to set the reset button. We talked about that. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday? We talked about setting that reset button. It's okay. It is necessary to have to set the reset button, and to set the reset button, to just say, hey, you know what? I need to reset today. I need to fill up my cup so that I can continue to pour out to other people.
Yes.
I often share that with Christian.
Yeah.
Hey, I need to fill my cup
First,
back
yeah.
up. You know, right now I'm, you know, and so I've learned as I've gotten older that guess what? I have to do that every day before I.
And that it's not selfish.
It's not
take care of
selfish.
yourself
It's not
so
selfish
that you
to
can
take care of
serve.
yourself.
Yep.
Yes, I have to take time for myself. I have to do stuff for myself, by myself, and be okay with that, to fill my cup up so that every day I'm able to make a difference in the lives of people that are in my life right now. I don't have to go out and try to reach the masses. Guess what? I have some important people in my life right now. I have some important people that I work with right now. And this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm called to be. There's purpose right here, because if I can't handle where I am, I'm not going to be able to handle where I'm going. Because guess what? That place is, even though it's a bigger platform, even though it's a more desired place to be, guess what? God doesn't want me to struggle there. So he's making sure that I'm prepared right here with these little tests, right here with the everyday things that I got to do, right here with teenagers. Listen, if you can't handle kids, it's going to be challenging to handle adults. Kids are impressionable. Kids are, you know, more open to hear what you have to say to a certain extent. But oftentimes I find that, guess what? Even though you may feel like they're not listening, even though they may be looking at you like, really, mom, I know that, and they feel like they know it all. Guess what? It's making a difference in their lives. They go out and they're repeating some of the same things that we're saying to other people. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, they are listening. You know, I don't put them on the spot, but I'm like, yes, Chris, we got one.
And, you know, one of the things that I think about is, you know, true success is right where you are. It's not that you don't have money, is that you're not there where it is. It's not that you aren't successful, it's that you're worried about comparing. If you try to compare with others, the journey will be short. Don't compare to others, because you will always find yourself falling short. Your competition, your greatest success comes from that person in the mirror looking back at you every day. I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be a better version of me tomorrow. Every day, how can I get better? Not how I can compete with other people. You know, for a long time, I feel like one of my greatest strengths was and still is probably one of my biggest weaknesses, is like, I don't ever compete with other people. But oftentimes that becomes, it comes across as being arrogant, right? It comes across as maybe being, you know, overly confident. And I'm like, no, the reason why you don't like my confidence is because I am not worried about your opinion. I am not worried about what you think about me. I am worried about one person's opinion. And that's the man above. That's it. Like, I don't worry about anybody else's opinion. I want to get better every day. And if I can prove to myself that I can be better than I was yesterday, mission accomplished. The problem is when you take on that mindset, when you take on that mantle, when you take on that type of mentality, you will come across as arrogant, cocky, a know-it-all. And that's never been my intent. My intent has never been to try to be a know-it-all or a show-off. No, I want to be the absolute, and I teach this to my kids, the hardest working person in the room. I don't care about how you show up. I do care how I show up. I have to show up every day at my absolute best. Will I have a bad day? Absolutely. But guess what? You may not ever know it. You may never know it. Because when I come, I'm coming correct. I'm trying to come 100 every day. And that's how I want, everybody around me. Because the one day that you have that bad day, somebody is watching. Somebody is looking for an example. And if it's that day, that may be the one opportunity you had to make an impact in their life. Not to put any pressure on you, but trust me, you have to walk in excellence. We are called to be a light. We are called to be above, not beneath. We are called to be givers of hope. Like, I am in the business of giving hope. Encouraging, inspiring, taking you to that next level. But I can't do that if I'm always having a pity party. If I'm not on my A game. If I'm not at my best. So despite me having a bad day today or yesterday, how can I get better?
Yesterday ended last night.
Yes.
And we have to remind ourselves of that in every aspect of our life. Now, you talked about not worrying about the opinion of others. That's so important. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there is kind of a fine line between that. You know what I mean? Between being or being perceived as being arrogant, right? Because even though you may not be concerned or you shouldn't be concerned with what other people say, it's important to be teachable, to be able to accept constructive criticism and know the difference between constructive criticism and people just being critical of you. Because guess what? There's going to be people out there that are just simply critical of everything you do. Even if you're going about your business, going about your day. I'm just trying to do my best. That's it. And guess what? That has nothing to do with you.
Absolutely.
But people are going to be critical of that. Like, real life, like we've experienced that. Like I'm trying to make you, how am I trying to make you look bad by doing my best? Please help me understand that. So sometimes people are just going to be critical of you. That's what you don't care about. That's what you are not worried about. But guess what? Sometimes there's going to be people in your life that are going to give you constructive feedback.
Absolutely.
Constructive, criticism. And we need that. And I love that. Just like we need just like we love encouraging other people, guess what? We need encouragement as well. We need feedback, as well. We need help as well. We want to learn every single day. And one thing that helps is that we know and understand that we can learn from anybody. We can learn from any situation. Listen, I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old, and they teach me new stuff all the time. At 16 and at 13, like, man, I didn't know I needed to improve in that area of my life. And I take that feedback.
Yeah, very intelligent young man. And you said something, and I think about one of the things that I think has really been super, super helpful, growing and getting better, right? Is understanding that, like, if you think about it like this, and you truly get the essence of what I'm going to share with you, it's going to take you and your life to a whole nother level, right? Bold claim. But how do you know if someone needs encouragement? How do you know? So I see a few people on the live. Somebody real quick, tell me, how do you know if somebody needs encouragement?
That's a good one. I got this wrong a few times.
All right, I see Michelle, I see Crystal, I see Mom.
And it's usually a delay.
I see, Crystal and Crystal. I see Perry, Javier. All right, Eric, who can tell me, how do you know when someone needs encouragement? This right here can change the whole trajectory of your life. Let me see. If they're not proud of their own accomplishments. Wow. That's pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. What else? Thank you for joining, Errol. That man is a phenomenal artist. If you need something done, that's your guy. Yeah. All right.
So how do you know?
How do you know if somebody needs encouragement?
How do you know?
So the way that you know if somebody needs encouragement is if they're breathing.
So everybody, all of us,
we all need encouragement.
Yeah.
You know, so we share with you, we love to be uplifting, we love to be an encouragement, we love to be hope. But we know that everybody, that's not their cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm going to repel those that don't like me and draw those that do. Because my job isn't to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not supposed to be everybody's,
okay.
flavor. That's okay.
You got to be okay with that.
But what I will tell you is understanding that everybody around us needs encouragement, whether they walk around like a bump on a pickle or not.
They still need, those people need encouragement. It's a reason why they're walking around like a bump on a pickle.
Yeah.
You gotta recognize that, guess what? You may be the difference maker, in their life. You don't have to push yourself on anybody because guess what? There's some people out there that want everybody. It feels like everybody has to like me.
Yeah.
There always has to be likes and positive comments and different things like that. Guess what? Not everybody is going to like you. Neither is everybody going to agree with everything that you're saying. We all have opinions, and that's okay.
Yep.
It's okay for people not to like me.
Yeah.
What's not okay is for people to be discouraging,
Yep.
for people to, to try to dim your light. It's okay. Guess what? Everybody's personality is, we don't connect. Like some people, like you just know. Some people come in your life and guess what, man, we just have an instant connection.
Yep.
Like we have kindred spirits. Like we get along, and it's so amazing to see, especially nowadays where social media, you know what I mean, gives you the ability to connect with people all over the world. And there's people just that I encounter online, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this person.
Yeah.
I really like, so-and-so.
Yep.
I really like Debbie. I really like Teresa. I really like, all these different people that you meet.
Yeah.
And that I've met, and it's so powerful, but not everybody are you going to connect with like that. And that's okay.
Yeah. And so we're talking about significance, and we're talking about, this is significant. And I wanted to kind of give you guys, 3 practical things that you can do to make sure that you're constantly going down a path of making a difference in your life. So the first thing is like understanding that the conversations you have on a daily basis and how they can affect your relationship, right? So you can have 2 types of conversations, one that is uplifting and one that is discouraging. So I'll give you 2 examples. I'll start with the discouraging one first.
Excuse me.
Hey, I'm having a hard time, having a hard time at the house, and me and Sharita had an argument last night, right? And then somebody says, oh, she gonna have her mood swings and all kinds of stuff, right? So that is a discouraging conversation. Hey, not feeling so good today. Same conversation, and the person is like, well, maybe she needs something from you. Maybe you said something and she didn't like it. Did you ask her what was going on? Like, that's an encouraging conversation. So making sure that you understand, and I talk about this a lot, your inner 5, you shouldn't be talking about anybody. You shouldn't be talking to anybody about your spouse except for God. However, if you do have one person that you confide in, they should be that person that is constantly an encouragement and an uplifter and a fuel to that relationship, right? Absolutely. Somebody that's going to be like, it's almost like, what we like to do for couples, right? We like to be, like a mentor couple, right? Hey, they're struggling with something like, oh, okay, did you think about this? Did you look at it this way? And then all of a sudden they see a different perspective and it clicks for them. It's like, wow, like I did not see that type of perspective. And it's not a discouragement. It's just another way to look at things to help them understand that not all the time do, people have the wrong motives or the wrong intentions. It's just the perspective that we were looking from, the lens that we were using, the wrong, angle that we looked at.
Absolutely. And I will say it again. That situation, those conversations, it's important that you set that reset button. I'm going to keep saying it. Like it sometimes like Christian and I just have to get to a point where you like, no, you know what? The conversation is not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like we just have to reset. We just have to let that go and we have to reset. Let's get back to ground zero. If you're having struggles, at at work or anything. It's important, and it's important for you to know, and it's important for you to just set that reset button. Hey, I'm starting fresh.
Yep.
You know what? Tomorrow, I'm starting fresh.
Yes.
For me, that starts with prayer and fasting. Guess what? I'm going to have the right perspective. I'm cleaning my slate from everything that has happened. I'm forgiven, and I'm forgiving. You know what I mean? I'm forgiving others, and I know that I'm forgiven. So I'm not going to sit here and hold that against anybody, not even myself. I'm resetting right now. So guess what? That may not look like what you think it looks like. That's just for you. Yeah. Because guess what? That person that you're dealing with or having that art with or that friction with, they might not have set the reset button. They may be still dealing with the same things that next day. But guess what? You're more equipped to deal with it. Because some of the things that might have bothered me before I reset don't matter after I've reset. It simply doesn't matter. I'm like, why was I concerned about that? Why was I nitpicking? I feel like sometimes, before I reset, when it gets to that point in my life where I've reset, I feel like, I nitpick about every little thing. That bothered me. This bothered me. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Time out. What's going on? It's time for me to reset.
Yep. That's good. That's good. And that self-reflection is important because sometimes, the things that are happening, we may think it's all about what's going on. But it's an internal struggle that we're having because of, where we're going, maybe the growth that we're experiencing, like we're uncomfortable. And so we don't take the time to see like, man, I've grown past this, but for some reason I'm back here. So, so we talked about the conversations, right? Now let's talk about belief, right? So belief is really important because there's two things that'll happen. If you understand that any setback, anything that happened is temporary. Like, I was listening to one of my coaches today. We're doing a group session, and he said, "I have never failed in life." And I was like, "What in the world?" I said, What? And he said, "Pause right there."
Yeah.
And then so everybody was like, "Oh, okay." And then what he said is, if you look at failure like failure, then you would have failed. But if you look at failure as a learning opportunity, as a growth opportunity, as a stepping stone towards success, think about Thomas Edison. He said, like, when he said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I learned 10,000 ways not to build the light bulb. And having that type of mindset is ridiculous. Like, I am going to be successful. I am going to get to where I desire to go to. Because every no is a step closer to yes. Every no is a step closer to my yes. Every no is a step closer to your yes. So right now, you need to get a step closer to your yes by hearing no. Right. Hey, it's okay. You failed? Okay, how do you define that? Did you learn from it?
Yeah.
Are you still alive?
Right. One thing that I like to say is, when I feel like something didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, the way that I envisioned it to, what do I need to do moving forward? Yeah. That's it. Like this is not going to hold me back. What do I need to do from this point forward? That's it. Like, I'm not looking back at yesterday except for to know, just like Thomas Edison said, what I don't need to do, what didn't work. Other than that, what do I need to do moving forward from this point forward? What do we need to do from this point forward? What's going to help us? What's going to serve us? What isn't serving us? Guess what? We're not going to bring that into the future. Absolutely. We're not going to use that moving forward because we know that it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think some people get so stuck in their version of insanity that they don't realize that they're there. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over. Did I say over? Again, and expecting different results. Like, I cannot work out every day and have the body that I desire. I cannot eat whatever I want and have the health that I desire. I cannot not work on my business and build the empire that I desire. So think about that and how you need to apply it in your life. If you want to have a life of significance, you need to make a difference. So how are you making that difference every day? How are you contributing? So your belief can do two things, right? So the first thing is understanding how you can take a setback and make sure that it's always where it needs to be in its rightful place, temporary. Or you can make matters worse by blowing it way out of proportion, going into a shell and never coming out of it. But your belief, especially in yourself and your creative ability, your amazing ability to do anything that you put your mind to, because scripture says that we can do all things, right? The problem is we only use scripture when they benefit us instead of using them all the time. You can do all things. You can do anything. You just have to believe.
Absolutely. And did you have one last one?
Yeah, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is your daily actions. Your daily actions would determine how far you go, how significant your life becomes, because every day you have an opportunity, again, to make a difference. So how do you transform your marriage? How do you transform your business? How do you transform any aspect of your life, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is prayer. Praying every day is going to help you. Like Sharita said earlier, if you don't pray, you will see a difference. When I don't pray, things are rough, things are hard. Like I don't have this amazing peace. But when I pray, it's peace. Even if I had a bad day, I had a bad day, but oh well, it's all good, whatever. Tomorrow is in a few hours. I get to try another day, right? The next thing that you want to do is make sure when it comes to prayer, two things that are extremely important, especially for your relationship and especially for your business. Praying together. If you have a spouse, pray together. If you are a single parent and you have kids, pray with your children. Show them what's important. Show them what is valuable. Pray in the morning and pray in the evening. Give yourself that time. All we need to do is a 10th, right? Like, give yourself a 10th to pray for your life. I promise you it'll change your life. Then pray individually. Remember, don't pray how I used to pray, right? Pray for yourself and pray for continued growth in your spouse, for continued blessings, but don't ever pray for your spouse to change. If you're going to pray for anything to change, you pray for yourself to change. How can I get better? The next thing you need to do is invest. You want to make sure these are daily things that you need to do. So you want to pray and you want to invest. You want to invest in your relationship. Now, this can be going out on a date. This can be going out for a ride. This can be talking together. This can be working out. This can be, all kinds of things. Going to a conference. What can make your relationship better? What can make your business better? So you may need to do, once or twice a month, you guys do specific dates where it's just the two of you. You may need to go to a marriage conference or some type of event where you're pouring into your relationship. If you're building a business together, you need to also be doing that, digesting business stuff together so that you're both growing in the same direction. How can two walk together if they first don't agree, right? So you got to come together and make sure you have the right direction and you're propelling each other in that direction. Excuse me. The other thing that you want to do is make sure that you're reading. Read together. The most powerful thing that you can read for your relationship is the word, right? Get the book, get the great book. The last two things is learning. Make sure you're learning every day. Learn about marriage, learn about business. I had a friend, self-development, right? So I had a friend ask me today, what are 3 books that I recommend? Well, I typically will recommend my books, right? Never Give Up and the
Tips and Treasures.
Not the Tips and Treasures, the Code Breaker Guide, right? Those 2 books are really inspirational. They're short books. They're really good reads. But I do have a reading list that I absolutely am passionate about, and I will share that with her and with some other folks, right? And then the last thing is make sure that you talk about your future together. What is your business going to look like? What is your marriage going to look like? What is your relationship going to look like?
Talk about goals.
Talk about goals. Talk about dreams and write them down. You creating a future vision is so powerful for not only your business, but your marriage and your entire life. The house you want to live in, the car you want to drive, the boat you want to have, the beach you want to live by. Like, be so specific that when people walk in there, like, oh, you know what you want. Like, I mean, like, you real specific. Like, that's how you got to be. When people walk in, it needs to be audacious, big, and out there.
And that's something we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
Us being creators. As individuals, we're creators. Now, today we talked about this is significant.
Yep.
Where you are right now in your life, in your relationship, on your job, wherever you are, it's significant. It's significant to your future goals, to wherever you want to be in the future. Right now, where you are is significant. And that doesn't mean seeking significance. That means seeking to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I heard Jim Rohn say that I really, really loved, and I had to write it down, and it said that accepting congratulations, accepting, those kudos, those thank yous, those you did a good job, and those accomplishments, that's maturity, accepting them. But seeking them shows immaturity. When I'm trying to seek thank yous and appreciations and everybody, all those accolades, everybody trying to, say, oh, me, everything is about me. That shows immaturity. Like, we have to be okay with, guess what? Nobody not appreciating us.
Yeah.
Recognizing that, guess what? Like we said, not everybody is going to like me. Not everybody's going to appreciate what I do. So what I like to do is make sure that I'm grateful for where I am. Make sure that, guess what? Everything that I do, everything that I decide to do and decide to invest my time in is something that I feel like is important. I feel like it's going to make a difference. That would allow me to know what, I'm doing the right thing in spite of whether or not somebody's going to say thank you, somebody's going to appreciate it. I'm doing this because I know that person needs it. I'm doing this because I know that my spouse needs it. I know that my kids need it. I know that person on my job, that, guess what? Sometimes it's not the most pleasant person that I have to deal with, but guess what? I'm going to speak to them every morning. Yep. And I have to examine whether or not this is something that I'm going to invest in. Everything that I do every day, it's an investment. Yep. I don't look at it as, a task or a burden. This is an investment. So if I choose to do that, listen, it's because I feel like it's important. I feel like it's going to make a difference. And if I don't get accolades for it, if I don't get praises for it, I feel like it's significant. It is significant. Some things we may never see the fruit of our labor. Yes. But that's okay. You will see. Maybe later on, you might, let me rephrase that. You might not see it right now, but eventually you will. Eventually you will see the fruit of your labor. And it may not have to do with anybody else. You may never get that thank you. The fruit of your labor is going to come with what you receive from doing that, the value you get from doing that, the becoming, what you become from doing that task. Sometimes we're called to do some of the most tedious things on a regular basis, maybe for a long time. You're called to do something very, very tedious just to see if you're going to stay committed to it, just to see if you're going to be disciplined in that little thing. I'm reminded of that movie, Karate Kid, that wax on, wax off. Like, why am I waxing a car? I'm trying to learn karate. You know what I mean? Sometimes we look at things in our life like that. Like, why am I here? Why am I having struggles on this job? Why am I working in this place? Why am I dealing with these type of people? It's for a purpose.
And it's for you to bless somebody else.
It's not about you.
Yeah, it's for you to bless somebody else when they meet that opportunity. Yep. Now you have something to share with them, something to give them, and a way to make a difference in their life.
Absolutely. So we are done for the night. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. I am Coach Chris.
I'm Sharita Martinez.
And we want you to
go out and dominate your space.